Hi. How are you today?
Actually, pretty good.
Well, I was wondering, I imagine a lot of your residents come in and maybe there's like a feeling of loss, a loss of their independence, a loss of, with their health issues and medically. And I was wondering, how do you guys deal with that?
Well, in actuality, there's several different ways that you deal with that. One, of course, is that we have a psychologist who does come in to the facility, who meets with residents one-on-one and gives them that psychological evaluation and meets that need. Also, most of the residents that have Medicare, Medicaid, that type of thing, they have social workers. Okay, and so social workers, they work with us as, to keep the residents somewhat independent, because that's the idea behind assisted living, is somewhat independent living. But, we work with, the state, we work with the Veterans Administration, we work with all of the entities that are out there that will meet the needs of the individual residents to meet those psychological and mental needs as well.
Okay. Do you also have staff that's able to deal with any kind of issues that may arise?
Well, of course. We have a registered nurse that's on staff.
Okay.
And she oversees the medical medicines and that type of thing, and that type of care. We have med techs that are trained, in administering the medicines. Pretty much everybody in the building is first aid and CPR certified, on how to deal with situations like that. And then, they do, the goal, of course, is to do proper training in regards to emergency care and all of that. Of course, 911.
Okay.
Emergency responders are very important.
And I noticed that you plan like a lot of group projects. Is that done towards an eye towards like their mental health, such as like you do the luau and you do the you have someone come in and perform for them. I mean, is that something just to try to because you could just not be an entity that chooses not to do that, and just serve their meals and do their medical.
In actuality, the law requires, the law requires if you have more than 35 residents, you have to have an activities director.
Oh, wow.
You have to have somebody that will facilitate activities for houses that are large. So if you go to any facility that has, a certain number, they will have an activities director person in residence. The law is required. That's part of the thing in regards to our assisted living. The smaller houses don't, but Ashley Manors is very encouraging in regards to doing activities, crafts. They like to have the residents participate in the cooking and the meals and that type of thing. So in actuality, it's not an option for us to just sit down in front of the TV and just leave them. It's not just a service. Right. It's not an option. And I appreciate that, because I think that is important that the government and the people realize that activities are valuable to our lives. I mean, do you sit at home and sit in front of the TV all day?
Right.
No. Do we encourage our kids to sit at home and sit in front of the TV all day? No. As a matter of fact, we encourage them to get up and play for 60 minutes a day, right? So, the idea is to stimulate them mentally. I do exercises every day, so we stimulate them physically, which also does mental and emotional stimulation as well. But a lot of it is socialization. How many of us, and I know myself even, when I get it down in the dumps, I can very easily just isolate myself in my own home, shut the door, turn the lights out, and just veg, and that's not good for me. It's not good for anybody. So the goal is part of it is socialization. Like when we did the Hawaiian luau, we wrapped it around lunch, because that makes everybody participate. When it's wrapped around a meal, because like I said, there's a lot of people that won't participate in activities, but when we do it with a meal, they're kind of stuck with me, and you're stuck with the activity. We went around and everybody got their Hawaiian leis, and we played music, and I did the little hula dance there. We put on music, Hawaiian music for lunch and stuff, and then they all everybody, even the guys who sit there and go, no, I ain't participating, they laugh and they enjoy, you know, and enjoy something special. So it's yeah, you get
very important.
Yes, activities are. Right. I think activities are just as valuable as the food that you put in their tummies. You've got to stimulate everything else.
Right. I agree. And then I was wondering also if you notice that residents start to become more withdrawn or like a change in their behavior, do you guys get a little concerned? And
absolutely. We keep what's called a 24-hour book, and anybody and everybody is allowed to document it. You know, so if we note any behavior changes, you know, they can note those changes in there, and then if the nurse sees them or administrator sees them, they may order, you know, particular things. We also document, you know, you can't help it, but you get falls with elderly people, you know, so we document the falls and those type of things, and so that way, and then usually if they have a fall, then we document their vitals and that type of thing for a certain period of time, you know, so yes, if there's a behavior change, we note it, and we pass it along, and the 24-hour book is one of those things to where everybody's required to read it at the beginning of the shift, and then, of course, when if things happen in mid-shift, you know, it kind of just goes to the grapevine.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. I appreciate your time.